Hello and welcome back for another episode of Semper Phallus, where we the people are always dicked. As you might have heard, coronavirus is still a thing, but it came from a filthy wet market, or so we're told.
Was it a pangolin or a bat this time?
I think it was a sea turtle.
Sea turtle's nice.
We're facing full economic failure, and we'll get into the details of that. Ukraine, we'll give you some updates on that, and maybe some things you haven't heard. Who knows? We'll talk about some interesting sites that have been under attack. And then if we can get to it, we're going to talk about the good old ATF.
Yeah, them alphabet boys.
So, Doc, why don't you get us started? Why don't you bring us in?
I think the first thing we can play is, where's Fauci? Where the fuck did he go?
Yeah, well, he disappeared,
Like
out of sight, out of mind.
Straight A-list to D-list celebrity that quick.
Well, you know what? He's probably smart to be out of the public eye after, all that he not only was accused of, but it seemed to be mounting evidence to support that. So,
I mean, like, once again, if there was just these things called history books that we could look at and we could understand where this guy came from and what he's done to people and experiments he's done. I mean, it pretty much all came to fruition when he started with, what was it, AZT in the 80s? With the AIDS, and then we got to see the brutality of the NIH with the puppies that were being faces ripped off. And
with the sandflies or whatever they were.
The beagles were debarked.
Yeah.
Have you ever owned a beagle?
I mean, both of my dogs look like beagles.
Yeah, they
just long versions of them.
Just long, funny versions of them.
But they're not basset hounds or anything.
My last dog, I had him for 14 years. I loved him. Great dog I've had. His name was Gunner. Awesome dog. Probably the best companion dog I could have ever asked for. And I think that's part of why they use them so insipidly with experimentations, because they're so nice to people. They're just great dogs.
Yeah? Well?
Except for their bark.
Oh, there he is. There he is. The man himself.
Found him.
Yeah. Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of NIAID. I want you to remember that he's the director of NIAID, because that might be important later. I don't really know. But so for anyone that hasn't been paying attention to the mainstream media, or if you've just been inundated with Ukraine and Russia stuff, so it hasn't allowed you to really take in anything.
Does it feel like they're just dangling the keys in front of you? Hey,
look over here. Look over here. Don't ask questions.
We don't talk about that anymore.
We don't want to deal with this. But so if you've been distracted, then you may not have seen there is quite a substantial, well, actually, I wouldn't call this substantial. My bad. But there's a new study that came out. And I'm going to pull it up, but give me 1 second.
Drop some knowledge on me, man.
So this new study that came up, and it is two different studies, and what they show is, according to those studies, the controversial thought or opinion that the virus came from the lab.
Here we go again.
That couldn't possibly be true. And based on their studies and what they found, they believe that the virus came from the wet market.
Is that the World Health Organization again?
Well, I got to pull it up. Let me pull it up.
Pull it up.
Let's see. Virus from.
Why did they go back to the wet market theory, though?
Well, because it's too obvious because of where it originated. I mean, obviously, the first people that were sick. Here, I won't even.
Right, were the people that worked in the lab.
Which one is it?
That was right. The first people that became sick with the what's now like coronavirus or COVID-19.
Yeah, it was like two people that worked at the lab
on the virus.
Yeah, they probably went to lunch.
And I want to be crystal clear with people. Gain of function research is not like, hey, we're trying to figure out how to make ourselves better for something. They're engineering a virus to go past normal defenses of the cellular structure of the body. They also used to call that bioweapon engineering.
You know what? Bioweapons might be a good theme for this. I didn't even think of that when we put together our little bulletin board here. All right, so this right here, this article talks about it. And for anyone who's interested in reading it yourself, this article is posted on Outkick.com. And the article is why we should question latest report that pandemic originated in Wuhan market. In this report, they're going to break down why you should use some common sense before you just buy into the story that they're trying to send to you or trying to sell to you in this article. And it's important because the studies are linked in there, but they pull them out. They pull out the logical fallacies maybe pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and just read a little bit, and you tell me when you hear something that just sounds out of place. All right. Scientists released a pair of studies on Saturday that once again reprise assertion that the COVID-19 pandemic began in the Wuhan market, not a lab. The basis of the hypothesis is that the coronavirus was very likely present in live mammals at the Hunan seafood wholesale market sold in late 2019. In essence, researchers say that the samples they took from the Hunan market tested positive for two evolutionary branches of the virus, known as lineages A and B. Both lineages circulated in the earlier casts of COVID-19 in China. The report supposedly debunks earlier findings that the linked only lineage B to the specific Hunan market. Here's why the difference is important. Lineage B evolved after lineage A. Therefore, if the market was only connected to lineage B, it would suggest that the virus arrived at the market after spreading around Wuhan.
I don't.
Which is weird. It's just interesting. I don't know if you guys can hear that, and if you do, I apologize. We keep getting disconnected and reconnected. Who knows?
Is that what that is from Facebook
yeah,
again?
who knows what that's doing?
Trash book.
Yeah. Well, it's probably my internet. Goddamn Comcast. So this finding instead proposed the idea that on the two separate occasions, people working or shopping in the market became infected with the virus. Infected. The experts from whom the New York Times commented are giddy about the possibility. When you look at all the evidence together, it's an extraordinary clear picture that the pandemic started at the Hunan market. Michael Warby, an evolutionary biologist at the University of Arizona who co-authored both studies, told the Times. An extraordinarily clear picture, huh? Oh, this is the author of this article now. While the studies are compelling, I encourage everyone to read them. The research does not disprove the lab leak theory, as the Times says. So before we even go into this, I mean...
So the guy who did it is like, yeah, it happened. I did the study. It happened. I back that up.
But, so what's really... man, that keeps going, huh? Everyone just has to take a moment and just think about it for 1 second. So regardless of whether or not you believe what CNN or New York Times or any other media outlet tells you, we have a virus that broke out. Patient 0 was in Wuhan, right? 2 of the first patients on record were employees of the Wuhan lab.
Not like janitors. They were virologists.
Yeah.
Doctors.
Working on this gain of function research, bioweapon super virus research. They get sick, and then it spreads around the world. And what the narrative they want you to believe is that it's just coincidence that a random natural virus came from a random market that just so happens to be in the same town and
is researching the coronavirus.
Oh, yeah.
For gain of function.
Yeah, and the lab's in the same town. But you're not supposed to believe that it could possibly come from the lab.
Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
I know.
So
they're gaslighting me, man.
Yeah, it goes even further. So
I hate that term.
So
gaslighting.
Well, they're gaslighting the crap out of people lately. So it's insane. I mean,
we're about to run out of gas.
Let's see here. So they go into moreover. Three researchers who worked at the Wuhan lab fell ill with COVID-like symptoms in late 2019 as they helped conduct a gain-of-function research. Gain-of-function research at the center of the lab leak theory involved supercharging viruses to increase their lethality. Leaked emails now show that Dr. Fauci and other scientists discuss these specific research and COVID's unusual features in early 2020, raising suspicions of a cover-up.
Shocking.
Yeah, we all saw Rand Paul just light him up.
Yeah,
and then a lot of it was posturing and grandstanding, but he had more than enough evidence to start a formal investigation. I don't understand why. Well, I know why nothing happened, because our government is all worthless.
Politicians and lackeys and bureaucrats never go to jail.
Yeah, and Fauci's been doing horrible things since the 80s, probably longer. That's just how long I know.
Aren't we going to get into that?
No, we'll leave AIDS out of it.
All right.
Everyone's going to have AIDS soon again anyway, so.
You're welcome, world.
You're welcome. You know what? Ignoring everything else, the most important thing about this study that tells you it didn't come from the lab that was funded by NIH and Dr. Anthony Fauci, it didn't come from that lab, according to this study. It came from the wet markets. And that means what they were doing at the lab is not responsible for all these deaths.
Deaths, illness, sickness,
And
2 years of lost value of life.
It just seems strange to me that we would just ignore, and the media would ignore, that the study that says this and essentially claims that Fauci and his organization is innocent of all harm.
Well, we've proven that he's not, because they sent millions of dollars over there for that.
Well, you know what? They paid for this study, so they're literally NIAID, NIAID, they didn't pay for the whole study, but they paid for some portion of the study. And the study that they paid for is a study that debunks the lab leak theory, which essentially corroborates their story that they're innocent. So just for future reference, if you do something horrible and people die, you can just hire scientists to write a report that you didn't do it. And it's impossible that you could have. And then when you go to court, you can say, trust the science. You have to trust the science.
That kind of reminds me of, do you remember that kid, I don't know, probably 10 years ago in Texas? Super rich kid. Got drunk driving, like killed a whole family of like 6 people. And the judge ruled him, he's free to go because he suffers from affluenza. He's so rich he doesn't know the difference. So you're free to go. You got enough money, you can make it happen, folks.
I do remember that, actually.
You got enough money,
I don't remember the whole I remember the rich kid. I mean, obviously I remember that he was ill with affluenza.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't think we're ever going to actually be able to live stream, folks, because it breaks down every 2 seconds and then reconnects. So I bet you anyone watching on Facebook's getting a lot of like, and we're back.
And we're back. Sorry about that.
It's the best we could do.
We're still learning.
I've got that gigabit internet too, but apparently, it's all a fraud.
We're getting hacked by the Ruskies.
Oh, look, we disconnected again.
Shocking.
All right. Let's see. So now the biggest thing to remember about COVID, other than the fact that you were killed because of government working on, creating deadly viruses
for no reason,
and using your tax dollars to do it. And, they didn't just kill people around the world. They killed people in the United States, your friends and family. So that's awesome,
and
right?
I want to build up on what you just said right there. We paid for it.
Oh, yeah.
You are complicit because you helped finance it all. And as soon as we understand that, I mean, that's a whole nother argument, getting down into taxes and all that stuff. We can go down a very deep rabbit hole.
A deep dark hole.
That's where dicks go.
Oh, God.
We're not gonna go down there tonight.
But oh yeah, and you know what else though? Like NIAID, I'm willing to bet. I haven't looked at their funding, but I guarantee they run on massive grants. And you know where grant money comes from a lot of the time? From taxpayer dollars.
Sure does.
That the government decides to hand out because they get to decide where your money goes, even though you're not represented by it, which is weird. I remember there being a phrase somewhere about representation. I don't know.
Taxes are good for everyone, so pay them anyway. I believe that's it.
yeah, I think so. I think that's that. So, needless to say, we paid for our own demise
pretty
here.
Much, and we're doing it again.
And our government put us into the shitter by making everyone stay out of work, telling everyone that you're all going to die if you hug your neighbor or go see your family.
They dicked us pretty hard, man.
They dicked everyone pretty hard. So literally, I mean, my life didn't change. I didn't stop doing anything.
You still went to work.
I still went to work and handled sick people every day, and nothing changed. And I take it back. Family members didn't allow me to come around because of what I do for work. But that's fine because I'm in the trenches with sick people
all the time.
All the time. But yeah, so they crush the economy, and it's funny because our economy is already so bad right now because we're trying to come out of this pandemic, which is now an epidemic.
I've heard it called a recession finally.
Yeah, no, they did. They called it a recession, and actually, they've started saying that this is Great Depression level inflation and unemployment. Just every economic data point that you can look at says we're dicked, every one of them.
Yeah.
So
it's going to get a lot worse too, real quick.
Oh, so that's what I want to get into. So, you know what? That whole time, guys, I didn't have this article up. I apologize. But for anyone who wants to see, it's listed on Outkick. It's a legitimate article. It's very well written, and they, unlike certain other papers that will give you circular sourcing, like New York Times, which they'll source another New York Times article that you have to go to that one, and then another, and then it'll source to like
WAPO.
Yeah, or like some music magazine or something. You're like, where is this going?
So Rolling Stone is
yes, Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Whereas this one right here, it's actually, it links directly to the studies. You can go in and read them.
So it's not going to go to Teen Magazine at the end of the sources.
Yeah, I actually went to one of them and started reading the study, and the problem is like I've been following all this stuff so closely. I didn't really need to study. I didn't need to read the study. I just wanted to read to see if NIAID did in fact fund the study at all, which they did. And that's enough for me to say, well, that study's trash, so it's worthless.
Yep.
So
you said it.
But let's see. Let me pull up. We're going to go back to our main shot here, guys. I'm just going to try to pull up. We're going to get into the economic breakdown that is happening to us right now.
Yeah, that's the real scary part of the three big, Russia, India, China potentially moving away from the U.S. as the back currency of the petrodollar and using their own, what do they call it, mirror? Or is that their credit cards?
Union Pay.
Yeah,
Union Pay.
And they're going to...
And it runs off of the yuan.
Yes. So...
Which means the United States dollar will not be the reserve currency used in those transactions, which means the United States dollar loses some of its power, which means that other countries that are now doing business with Russia, not just China, are likely to be doing business in a denomination that is not the dollar, which is also going to hurt the U.S. dollar. And because Russia is talking about doing an embargo on oil, and we stopped producing all of our oil,
correct?
Because someone made a dumbass decision.
Day one decision.
Yeah, first, literally, like I think he signed a paper, or took his oath and then signed the paper saying like fire all these people.
Crayon out and passing out pens.
But the best part is so you're looking at the gas prices, right? So this is just the gas prices are a symptom of what's happening right now.
But what's weird is the supply's still there, demand hasn't increased, so why the skyrocketing? Law of supply and demand just doesn't make sense here.
And we actually haven't even stopped importing Russian petro products. We're still importing it at the exact same rate as we were.
It's 500,000 barrels a day at $61 million a day to Russia.
Yeah, which is weird. And I thought they were our enemy.
The bad Russia.
I feel like if maybe we weren't attached to them by the ball sack because we need their oil, maybe if we kept making, drilling our own and,
right, yeah.
and having our own pipelines, maybe if we had all those things, we wouldn't need to beg Russia to keep sending us oil while we pretend not to be at war with them while sending fighter jets and equipment to go to war with them.
Well, that's another thing. I think we pretty much are not at true global conflict war, but there's definitely a war going on behind, with the big money movers, the elites, and all that good stuff of the world.
Oh, you mentioned something. So elites. All right. So on your screen, if anybody's watching this on YouTube or Facebook, George, how do you say his last name?
Takai, Lieutenant Sulu from the original Star Trek.
Okay, that's why I don't know him.
Mr. Sulu.
Well, George Takai.
He was also imprisoned during World War II as a Japanese American.
Yeah,
but loves Democrats. Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, he probably didn't study.
Not a fan.
Well, he's a very wealthy citizen, and he took it, a moment out of his day, probably a day of just sitting around in the lap of luxury to tell you Americans, we can endure higher prices for food and gas if it means putting the screws to Putin. Consider it a patriotic donation in the fight for freedom over tyranny.
You know what I'm waiting for is
over tyranny.
God, I gave him that soundboard. Now he's having too much. I can't wait for the federal government to start like laminating those propaganda posters like from World War II. Like, you could serve your country, deal with it.
Yeah, you're gonna have Rosie the Riveter. Actually, They were doing those same propaganda things for COVID because I just walked into a drugstore. It could have been, I don't want to say any department store name because I don't need any backlash from that, but it was one of those department drugstores. Right as you walk in, they've already thrown away all their coronavirus stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still there. They've just like thrown it on the ground to the side.
We got to put stuff on the shelves that makes money.
It's literally like they were like, screw all this shit. Like they couldn't get rid of it fast enough, but the manager probably wasn't like, didn't get the order to throw it away yet, you know? But right there on the ground, there's this picture of this lady, and she's like this with her mask on and getting a shot, and it's like, do your part.
Get your Fauci ouchie.
It's like, get your Fauci ouchie. It's like the propaganda, man. And what's funny is that propaganda is nothing compared to what they're doing online and in the media, like on TV. But
the elites.
George Takei is an example of someone who's out of touch. So
it has been for a long time.
And has been for a long time, because for a lot of us, myself included, these gas prices and these food prices, you know, if this keeps going up, my entire quality of life changes. And I have a family. I know a lot of people that have a family they have to support that are, you know, watching as, you know, their utility bills more than double, you know, their gas bills more than double. Literally, since Biden took office, the gas price has gone up over $2.
Yes.
That's insane, considering it was only $2 when he took office.
Yeah, and it's
it was actually less than that.
And
in
we're
some
looking
places.
at, I mean, when they do the gas updates every 2 days or day now at the gas stations, you're watching. I remember 5 days ago, I was like, oh my God, gas went up 11 cents. And then like today, I was like, holy shit, it's a whole nother $1.
Yep. Now this is another one. I'm going to put this up. So this is funny because instead of approaching the problem and starting to try to identify solutions and understand that regular people are having an issue with the inflation and trying to keep up because wages don't keep up with the inflation, instead, Washington Post says anti-elitism and the internet are a problematic combination.
Well, look what Russia's doing. Russia's got their fucking police officers out there swiping through people's phones who they think's protesting against what they're doing. They won't allow anything that disseminates against or disagrees with the talking points, the narrative that their government's putting out, and they'll throw you in the fucking gulag.
Oh yeah, well that's nothing new for them.
And at what point do the people say, enough? You try to do that, I'm going to shoot you in the face.
So I don't know the weapons laws there. Do they have the Second Amendment?
No.
Or well, you know what I mean? Do they have something similar?
So I've read the Russian laws. So at 18, I think you're allowed to buy a smoothbore air rifle. And then 3 years later, you can get a smoothbore shotgun. And then 3 years later, you can get a bolt-action hunting rifle. You cannot own handguns. It's very restrictive.
Dude, imagine how good they are at shooting, though, if you gave them a rifle, like a firearm with rifling.
Yeah, right.
Oh, my God. That's scary as shit. Like, they've been hitting targets from God knows how far with smoothbore. All of a sudden, you give them a precision rifle.
Right. Oh, this is easy to shoot accurately.
They're like, how do you guys fail the marksmanship course?
Unfortunately, they fail going to war because they have those Chinese tires on all their military equipment.
Oh my God! Well, someone was saying I read from a guy who's like a military depot specialist or whatever, so he deals with the heavy equipment and the tires and the tracked vehicles too. And pretty much he said that this comes down to just a lack of discipline on the Russian side.
Just letting their equipment fall apart? Yeah,
because in order to keep that from happening, you have to move the equipment like every 3 days, which I know well. In aviation, you have to move airplanes every 3 days or they get flat spots and then they develop cracks.
In the infantry at the battalion aid station, once a month, we'd have to go out and pull the 997s out and move it, check its oils, let it run for an hour.
Yeah. And you know what? Like looking back when I was younger, I remember being pissed that I had to do that stuff.
Yeah, it was fucking dumb.
But now that as I watch Russia literally fall on their face because they lack discipline to do this regular maintenance and service, I'm like, man,
that little thing
right there,
little PFCs and Lance Corpies running out there, hanging out, smoking butts, letting a machine run for an hour. Weird.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, it wasn't ever that bad. You'd go out to do a menial task and you'd hang out with your buddies in the military for like an hour. Yeah. It's like, let me go move this airplane.
Kick your blouse off and hang out in the sun, whatever.
Yeah, and if you were in Iraq, you'd just lay down under the plane. It's the only shade around. You're like, whatever, man. But, all right. So instead of saying something that could help us all understand that, like, maybe we can try to find a way to fight against this inflation. Maybe there's a way that we could work towards easing inflation, or rather than creating a piece that works towards a solution or works towards kind of like getting people together. Instead, Washington Post puts out an article that says, you don't like rich people? Well, you're an asshole.
Yeah, well, they have all the solutions.
Yeah, they have all the solutions.
You have to bow down at the altar of Jabbo and Uncle Klaus and figure things out, because you'll have nothing and you'll just be fucking happy. So shut up.
So this is we already mentioned this briefly, but this chart right here, and by the way, if you don't follow disclose.tv on Twitter, you should. They're I would say that they stay on top of a lot of important news topics, and they don't post anything about it. They literally just post like what it is.
Just pure numbers, unbiased.
Yeah, like whereas I post my opinion about everything because I'm all about how we're all getting dicked. And so I want you to know that I think that's what's happening. They just tell you what is happening and you come to your own conclusion. But if you look at this chart, that is, if you're watching the video and you look at this chart, it's showing you the market share of global network cards, which is like Visa, MasterCard, and all that, right? So prior to Russia being kicked out of Visa and MasterCard, Visa and MasterCard made up 64% of the global network of cards. UnionPay made up 32%. Now, mind you, Russia may not be the biggest economy in the world, but in order for them to do business with any other country right now using these monetary systems, all those other countries are going to have to agree to use UnionPay as well. So you're not just forcing Russia to use UnionPay. You're forcing Russia, you're forcing India, you're forcing Syria, you're forcing probably Brazil, any country you can think of that hasn't outright condemned Russia. If they do any business or import any oil or import anything from Russia, they're going to be paying using UnionPay, which is going to be backed by the yuan. So at the same time, this sanction does nothing really to cripple Russia, but it does a really good job of dicking us and our economy while helping to prop up the Chinese economy and strengthen the yuan. It's like we're screwing ourselves while actively making, a rival more powerful. It's like the worst decision you can make.
It's really strange. Even like, I'm not a big economic. You're much more familiar with the money side of the house.
That's because of AMC, baby.
Yeah, I know. Game stonks. But
AMC.
the fact we're condemning Russia for the invasion of Ukraine, and on the second hand, we're just shoveling cash to them at $61 million a day to finance whatever the hell they want to.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're still, through proxies, bombing Yemen and bombing Somalia.
Oh, yeah, those Houthi rebels.
Name a country somewhere, we're probably bombing them. But
Why?
We're not condemning ourselves. And why are we even attacking them?
Maybe if we ask Uncle Klaus, we can figure it out.
You know what? I was just going to bring him up. So hold on. We're going to try to find some Klaus Schwab.
Dear Santa Claus.
All right. So for anyone who is uninitiated on the topic of the World Economic Forum, it's a bunch of rich people that lived these silver spoon lifestyles that then went to the young world leaders forums and trainings, and essentially they've all been indoctrinated on collapsing the global economy for the Great Reset, essentially destroying every economy there is with the purpose of replacing it with one that they're already on top of.
Is that Dogecoin?
No, I don't know. I actually think that now, this is not investment advice, which I don't even think you can give about crypto at this current moment, but I actually think that XRP is going to be the one that gets the green light. I don't have the information right in front of me, but I was listening to other podcasts, reading articles about it, and it sounds like XRP has the greatest bandwidth and the right kind of
what do they call it?
Size
data
and
mining.
So I don't think XRP is really data mining, and XRP is more of like you know what? I hope people correct me in the comments because I'm not 100% on this. So don't let me represent XRP poorly. But my understanding of XRP is that it's meant to facilitate transactions while guaranteeing the transaction on both ends of the buyer and the seller and whatever. And the blockchain that is used in XRP facilitates very fast transactions, which is different from like a Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is allegedly, from what I understand, which it's all really just kind of like magic to me. Bitcoin is more for larger transactions because it's such a massive.
Right, it's a large amount of money for a coin.
So, but I don't know if it's like meant for larger transactions just because the value has gotten so high, or if that blockchain just doesn't process as quickly. That's the part of it that gets to the point where you're like, yeah, you really need an expert on this. And I don't know any.
But to get back to it, the ringleader of the World Economics Forum, Blackstone, BlackRock, a gentleman named I'm not going to give him that. A dude named Klaus Schwab is got to be on your radar right now.
So, Klaus Schwab, to me, I just think he looks evil. I overheard.
Oh, that's like I told you earlier. He looks like one of those evil Sith lords from.
Oh my God,
like,
dude!
You like think Star Wars?
You think he looks like a Sith lord
with that weird puffy jacket and that clouch he's wearing?
We will pull up Sith Lord.
You can just hear the dun 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 dun
ceremony,
dun,
maybe.
Dun.
Image. Let's see if we can get. Oh, there he is.
There it is. There it is.
I want to get a good one. I want to get a good one.
Schwab.
Where is it? Klaus Schwab.
Go all the way up and then to the left and the right. Look at the in the middle there.
Dude, someone
like,
else.
Come on.
Oh, of course, banned video, man. Alex Jones is always so quick.
God, he's good.
Yeah. Dude, he's right like years in advance, so everyone calls him crazy for like 2 years, and then it's all proven
we're
right.
gonna find out there's lizard people running the world.
Eventually, you're probably gonna get eaten by a lizard, or you're gonna shoot off an enemy's leg, and they'll just regrow it, and you're gonna be like, oh no,
and you'll be happy.
Yeah, because you own nothing, and you're happy. Oh my God, this guy.
So everybody, that's he also goes by the alias Devil, Satan, Lucifer, just Antichrist.
Yes.
Feel free.
And he's the guy who was on multiple forums and presenting at different events, telling everyone several months ago is that the next global catastrophe. I don't know what accent that is. Was going to be
Schwarzenegger.
yeah, close. I don't know, but he was literally saying that
we got to collapse the economies. Come on.
And he's saying that we're going to have the cyber warfare and the cyber hacking and the global network is going to be shut down. And he's like trying to scare everyone. And it's like, dude, first of all, because you're saying it, I already know what's going to happen. Because everything these people say, they plan in advance, and then you see it unfold. They did it with, Event 201. They did it with the SPARS pandemic. They did it with Crimson Contagion. They've done it with, Operation Dark Winter.
Look this up. It's available. It's on the internet. It's not hidden.
There's more. I'm missing some. There's so many. Pretty much if you see something that has the World Economic Forum tied to it, and at the same time has like Johns Hopkins and like Bill Gates tied to it, if you see those three names, like Bill Gates, World Economic Forum, and Johns Hopkins, you should read it, and you should understand that what they're saying, when they call it a simulation, it's really like a playbook for how they're going to dick you. That's like, that's how it's all played out.
And it has for the last, 15 incidents that they even talk about at their powwows that they have.
Yeah,
they got that one guy out there, their little monkey, going, "We're gonna hack humanity. We're gonna hack the planet.
Humans are hackable animals."
We're just gonna go with the Schwarzenegger thing, man.
Humans.
I don't know what's his name. I can't remember the little monkey's name.
I don't know. Oh, but I gotta pull this one up. This is so good.
That's a great.
This is such a good one. Look at him.
Who gets dressed like that except people that want to conquer the world?
So I guess it was a ceremonial robe for they gave him like a, I don't know what you call it when you get like a degree from a college that you didn't attend to. They just give it to you because you're a wealthy asshole. Yeah, he got an honorary degree, I believe. Don't quote me on it. I don't follow his college. I just follow his criminal actions. But I believe he was honorarily given a doctorate.
Doctorate of yeah.
Oh, here it is. There it is, right there. There it is.
Jawohl und hallo.
Honorary doctorate. Of what?
It's a familiar German wave.
Of what is it? Look, so ceremony for the confirmation honorary doctoral degree of. What's his doctoral degree in?
World conquering.
It's like destruction. Like he's a demolition.
Malice.
He's a demolition engineer. All right, hold on. I'll search up hackable animals and we'll get this guy.
I can't remember that skinny dude he's got out running around. That's not it.
Oh man, hold on. Let me not use Bing or Google.
But he's got this guy that goes out there and goes on like shows and talks about it, how humans are now hackable animals, and that's how we're going to control society's progression as we move forward, and that we'll look up to the elites and the powerful and be thankful. I don't get it.
All right.
There he is. What's his name?
Hold on. I'll read it.
Advisor of Klaus Schwab. Jewish.
Oh, and Bill Gates is in there too. Do you see that? Oh, just look for John.
Jeez.
If you see Johns Hopkins' name in this thing, dude, it's just
Or
like
Blackstone.
instantly.
And not the grill. Love the grill.
Yeah. Humans are now, quote, hackable animals, according to an advisor of Klaus Schwab, who issued the chilling warning that humans are no longer possess free will.
That free will is a past term. We got to get rid of that notion.
Now, you have to understand that Klaus Schwab believes that humans don't have free will because he doesn't want you to have free will. We actually still have it, which is why they hate us so much. You have it. Like, anytime you make a decision that, like, CNN advises against, Klaus Schwab sheds a tear.
Well, this guy even goes in to break it down. I was like, you think you have free will and you can go up to the grocery store and you make your choice? That free will, that has to go away. We're not going to have that in the future when we hack humanity.
So this is on European Union Times. I might play it. I just don't know how loud it's going to be. Well, I'm going to...
Drums blown in 3, 2, 1. Not bad.
Many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody
My accent was
understood
not too far
biology
off.
well enough. And nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it.
Wait.
But
Are
soon,
you cheering them?
at least some corporations and governments will be able.
Do you understand what he literally just said that, you know, because the Gestapo and the KGB couldn't do it, but essentially we're going to pick up where they left off because we can. Why is it weird that the two other organizations that wanted to do this are horrible, like known for killing and torturing people?
Yeah, they don't have 5 stars on Yelp.
Yeah, they've no bad reviews.
Don't
right?
go here.
And this guy is touting them, saying they tried, they almost did it, but we're going to succeed because, because we're transhumanists.
What was it?
Dude,
what are they gonna-
transhumanist
Right.
and top advisor.
Who is the German butcher? Goebbels?
Yeah.
Yeah. You gonna quote him next? Like he tried some crazy shit and it didn't work out, but we like what he did. We're gonna pick up where he left off.
Systematically hack all the people.
Hack the planet.
All
We
the
humans
people.
should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals. Data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships.
What? Then just build. Like that's an accomplishment, a digital dictatorship. And I understand what he's saying. He's referring to the oligarchs that run big tech.
Yep.
And, you know, if you don't think they're acting like dictators, understand that they are. I understand the next person's argument that says, oh, private company, bro. Private company.
Yeah, but if they're malicious and nefarious, that's not okay either.
But it's also become essentially the public square. It's become the town square where people air their grievances.
That's why they want to get rid of that Section 213 for them, so because they're editors.
And, dude, whoever was advising Trump, they were doing a poor job because Trump wanted to get rid of Section 230.
Yes.
When in reality, Section 230, if you get rid of it, then the retaliation or the response from those big tech companies will be to shut down everything you say that could be potentially criminal or whatever, because, you know, they have no protections. So they're going to shut down all of your free speech, and you have no right because they didn't grant you a right in 230. Whereas the correct thing to do with 230 is to reform it. There's just a few words that need to be changed to guarantee that, you know, they cannot censor you if what you're saying is not outright illegal, doesn't break a law. And because of that, they're not liable for what you say, which is completely understandable. Like,
I agree.
If I had a newspaper and, you know, newspaper's not a good version of this. I don't know.
a media source.
Yeah, if I had a social media website and all my customers are on it and they're just saying whatever they want to each other, and then one of them threatens another one to murder him, that is criminal. That, that can't happen, based on our current laws. But if one person just says something that I don't agree with and I think it hurts someone's feelings, that's I have no business in censoring them or punishing them and removing them from a platform.
Well, I think the customer, the free market will take care of that person just fine. Do you have that clip from the core from 20 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
It felt like they were onto something 20 years ago.
Let me see if I can pull this up. I totally forgot that we found that earlier.
There it is. There it is.
All right, so transition.
20 years ago, Aaron Eckhart and this other guy almost had it right.
With unlimited resources.
Oh, why is it not? Hold on. It's not pulling up over there.
No, it's not.
Hold on. Whoa. Oh.
Technical difficulties.
Which one is it? YouTube.
There we go.
You ready?
Let's do it. Let's hack the planet.
With unlimited resources.
You want me to hack the planet? He wants me to hack the planet.
Yeah, that's where we're headed, folks.
You've got free long distance on that phone. Forever.
Nice.
Use it to call the homeland.
Fatherland.
Yeah.
Und Deutschland.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where. If you haven't been following those names, folks, look them up, follow them. We'd like to hear about it in the comments. What you think, where you think this whole economic crisis is about to head, if it's going over the cliff or whatnot. We want to hear about it.
And I think the hackable animal, the Klaus Schwabs of the world that want to destroy everything that you hold dear and the freedoms that you enjoy and the economies that you live within by destroying either the employment the employment data, I don't know what you call it.
And like just natural resources, they're going to control them all.
Yeah, or helping to facilitate inflation or create increased demand or reduce supply. It's like I'm throwing a lot of stuff out there, and you have to do some research into the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates, and man, there's just so many. BlackRock, which is also like Blackstone,
yep,
and is also a primary partner or funder of World Economic Forum. It's all like tied together. It's really creepy. And then, you're watching as like the Russia, China, India, and these bigger countries are going away from the dollar, which is minimizing your buying power because other countries deem your currency less valuable, which in turn means it is less valuable.
Yep.
It's just like what we're seeing because speculation is a real thing. If there's reduced demand for your dollar's worth less. It's, and it becomes a speculation because, obviously it hasn't hit yet. Like this stuff just happened. We just saw this on the news. There's no way that this has rippled through because of physical actions that have happened throughout the global economy. It's
Not
just,
yet.
It's speculators, and we're already seeing it. It's important to keep that in mind when you talk about gas prices, because gas prices are based mostly on speculation.
A futures market.
Yeah, and so right now we're still looking at, we have this war going on with Ukraine, and, Russia is now potentially going to put an embargo on the entirety of Europe. Good luck, Europe.
It's going to get cold.
It's going to get real cold.
Yeah, the lights are going to go off for a little bit.
Yeah, and listen, I'm laughing, but we're going to have it pretty rough here too because someone already turned off our means of producing our own energy for the most part. So we get it.
Yeah, the government's not your friend, everybody.
No. But getting into the war though, getting back into Ukraine and trying to get into the updates, I've been following one path of news. I've been trying to stay objective, but obviously I'm getting a different news cycle than Doc is getting. So the two of us, when we sit here, I'm very much seeing a lot of, I wouldn't call it Russian propaganda, but it seems like I'm finding sources that are more favorable of Russians that are showing a lot of the propaganda that was created by Ukrainians. And I think you're seeing the opposite side
Yeah, I'm
of
seeing
that.
mostly Ukrainian propaganda.
So I'm curious how much of what is happening at all. Because I've been finding reports from Ukrainians that they shot down Russian helicopters that then other people upload the same video from like 2014.
Yep.
And they're like, no, this already happened. Or a tank that was being looted that was allegedly a Russian tank. And then come to find out there's the original video, allegedly the original video,
course.
from 2014. And it was a Ukrainian tank and it's being looted by Russians. And so, like, I understand if the Ukrainians are putting out this as propaganda
Victory boast themselves up.
to bring up morale and make people stay mentally strong to fight. I get it. But it's just weird watching it being pushed through the mainstream media onto regular people here that aren't involved in it, that don't need the boost of morale to keep up your courage. It's like, I just want to know the truth.
You have to dig.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, and it helps. I guess it's better for me because I understand, like, Russian military vehicles, their technology and stuff like that. I mean, it's tough in this confrontation because a lot of their equipment is the same equipment from the other side. But when you see a full convoy of supplies and fuel gets destroyed and it's got Z's all over it, and you're like, okay, or triangles or circles, you're like, okay, could they have painted those on after?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But then it shows Ukrainians going through. And I've seen Ukrainians hit with Stinger missiles. They get successful hits with the NLAWs and the Javelins. I mean, you see that stuff. How much of it is actually happening? I don't know. I see the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense reports, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're smoking them. They've got 5,700 casualties this week alone. We've killed 800 pieces of armor and equipment. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of fucking rockets and RPGs. But, hey, maybe it's true.
Yeah.
Unlikely because they want to pad their numbers. I get it. You want to look like you're kicking ass.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing that I'm seeing is obviously the Russians have taken many strongholds. They've taken over military bases from the Ukrainians. They've made advances. I've also seen reports that Ukrainians actually managed to sink a Russian naval vessel. I don't know which one, but relatively newer.
I had not heard
that they sank from shore. I don't know what they shot it with, but they were all cheering. But I have no way of
pictures or it didn't happen.
Yeah, well, there's you can see a fire out in the water, but there's no way for me to prove that that's anything.
Or it could have happened just aboard a ship.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like the problem is that there's no way to verify. There are no real good journalists on the ground that we know. So every journalist that I'm finding is local from the area, right? Or at least I think so. And I have no idea if what they're publishing is legitimate because I've never seen their previous work. Everything they were following wasn't important to me because we were essentially in two different universes before this. And now our worlds are colliding because Russia's, invading on a peacekeeping
special
mission.
peacekeeping mission.
Yeah, special peacekeeping
now,
mission.
you've heard he's called up 100% of his military to deploy to Ukraine now.
I did not hear
From
that.
7 time zones away. Now, I don't know if I believe that because that sounds like a terribly strategic defensive move to make.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I don't care about my East Coast. I'm just going to send it all over here. Go ahead, Japan. Go ahead, claim half the country.
Yeah, flank me.
Yeah, no shit. Like, nobody's moving 100% of their forces. Now,
No.
maybe he's committing his 100% of what he had at the border finally. I don't know, but he can't run gas, so he can't run food or munitions.
It could be a fun play on percentages, like what they did throughout COVID.
Yeah, what is 100% of what?
Yeah, like when they told you that a hospital was at 100% capacity, and what they really meant was
that 4 ICU beds are full.
Yeah, what they really meant is that hospital that only has 4 ICU beds, they're full. Or they're not full, but they don't have staffing, and because they have half their staffing, they can only fill 2 of those beds.
Right.
So they're 100% full. So playing with percentages is not a great way to play because you can lie with percentages. That's why Bill Gates advocates for the book, How to Lie with Statistics.
Oh, numbers.
It's on his reading list. Go check it out. But yeah, so
the government's not your friend. They always lie to you.
And, it's regardless of what I'm reading and watching, I can't tell you who's Russian, who's Ukrainian, other than the markings on the tanks.
Or the yellow armband or red armband.
And even that, I'm like, I don't know when this video's from. I don't know anything. It's so pretty much at this point, I've just kind of said, I'm not going to support the war which is what I just, in my opinion, we're at war.
I think if you ask the Ukrainian soldier and the Russian soldier, what do they want to do? I guarantee they would both be like, I just want to go back home. Like, this is dumb.
Yeah. But I think Russia's about done.
You think so?
I do. So,
but they went to the table with those ridiculous demands.
well, it's the big ask. Come
Of
on,
course, yes.
That's a
hey,
Trumpian thing, man.
Hey, man, you should never be the first one to make an offer during negotiations, and they did. And they went big.
So,
I want half your country.
well, I
get it. That's where you start.
I actually thought that's where they were going to go, because I thought they were going to call it. They wanted from the Dnieper River east.
Yep, that's what we thought from a month and a half, 2 months ago.
That's what I figured. I didn't think that they would. I didn't think they would ask for it so soon. I figured they would burn down and deplete a little further west, and then it'd be like ceding ground back to Ukrainian for them to go back. So that might end up being what happens.
Do you think there's an element of the Ukrainian defense that believes they can win?
No.
I mean, in the long picture, they'll never win against that many troops.
I think you've got a lot of people all over the world, a lot of world leaders getting in the ear of Zelensky, and
they're going to be like, take the offer.
And no, I think they're telling him to keep going, and I think that they're going to get everyone in Ukraine that stays there killed. And I mean even the Russians that are there. I think that third parties that don't have their sons and daughters on the ground are egging this on further.
So what would you say, like Sweden and Finland, or
no? Right now I would say mostly like NATO allies and stuff.
Okay, just poking the bear a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they're not doing anything that would lead towards de-escalation.
No, let's put more troops on the border.
It's like, let's talk about, and then you got Zelensky asking for a no-fly zone. It's like, dude, good luck, because
that ain't gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, because if they say no-fly zone and someone flies,
it goes down in fire.
Yeah, they're gonna shoot him down, and if they don't shoot him down, then now they've bluffed and got called out, and that's not good for the rest of the war. Which it would become from that point forward.
Yeah, it'd become a very hot war for everybody.
But so if you thought you could trust the government, just know that you can't. Even in Ukraine, I mean, their president's an actor. I mean, wasn't he the Paddington Bear or something?
He's a comedian.
Actually, Kelly at work told me that he was the Paddington Bear. I didn't know. All I knew is he cast himself as the president of the United States in some show, and then shortly after was the president of Ukraine. And then people in his production studio that helped him make that TV show are now in the cabinet for the Ukrainian government. So he literally took his little TV production show where he made himself president, and then he made himself president of Ukraine and brought his whole studio there to keep the whole charade going.
Those CIA boys have a lot of explaining to do.
Those little alphabet letter boys, man, they're good.
They're good.
They are good. It's weird that so many TV producers and like script writers would want to be in the FBI or CIA, but
just planning shit out. It's crazy.
But they are doing it. At least I think, allegedly.
The alphabet boys.
This is all opinion, by the way, because I don't want to be sued. But most of it's pretty legitimate. If you look it up.
Information.
If you look it up, you'll see it. But so like now we have freedom fighters. This is the last one before I think we segue into ATF. So now you have freedom fighters, is what they're calling them, which is just foreign fighters that are joining the conflict. You've got over 16,000.
It's about 20,000 now.
Oh my God, 20,000 foreign fighters that have committed to join Ukraine. And sadly, like I understand where they're coming from, because if they bought into the whole propaganda and they only focused on that, then they truly think that they're going there to help prevent World War III.
They do.
And I respect that a great deal. However, I think they've been duped, and I don't think they thought critically before making that decision, and I hope they don't come to regret it. Or I hope they can live to regret it.
The Russians are not going to be nice to mercenaries.
No. But now you've got all these armed. So they armed all these foreigners, and Russia has called up their own too, but these aren't mercenaries. They called up the Syrians, allegedly.
The Chechens.
And trying to build up their forces there. And we'll see what plays out with that. So now you've got a bunch of civilians or mercenaries running around that are armed and under the authority of the government, which is very different from our government, because if you're a legal gun owner, you might have a bone to pick with the ATF because they keep trying to turn you into a criminal.
Yeah, this week they came out and they had a massive Form 1 denial. And Form 1's what you used to submit as paperwork, fingerprints, passport photos. You used to have to get the chief law enforcement officer of your community to sign off on it. And that would be sent out with a $200 check to the federal government, and then you would have to wait for them to come back and approve it, and you could take your parts and you could make your suppressor or your short barrel rifle or your short barrel shotgun or whatever. Now, just having the components of what we used to call fuel filter.
Yeah.
You've seen them, yeah.
I know.
You're like, oh,
I know.
I get it. You used to be able to buy them on Amazon all the time.
Just don't drill it.
Just won't drill the 3/8 hole, the 9mm hole through it.
Don't drill that one.
So you could do that. Now they just had a mass. I think they had 3,000 on deck a couple of days ago to be processed, and they decided that only 850 were the right way to do it. So they kicked them all out. You got like 1,300 denials coming back to people right now.
What? So what was the basis? Did they say?
So pretty much just having the components would be enough to have you be breaking federal law.
What?
Yeah. So literally,
It's
it's metal. It's metal. You could have a metal plate. Put that away. You're gonna get us in trouble.
If I put something here to secure this, and maybe put a couple baffles in here, and then drilled right through.
Shh. Lower your voice. They're gonna hear us.
Dude.
No, if you put tape around that, and then we're like, well, this is what I'm planning to do. They could. What they're saying is that you have intent now, and that intent gives you a 10-year in prison, $250,000 fine.
What is this, Minority Report?
That's where we're headed, and that's where the FRT triggers, the FRT 15 that came out. That
the fart.
It's the trigger that allows you to fire faster than.
It allows you to sprint faster and jump higher.
Yeah, and once you get the third kill, you can unlock the UAV. And you can spy on them for once.
So what are they trying to say about the FRT trigger?
So I bought one, and I'm not afraid to tell people I bought it. I was like, you shouldn't talk about that. No, it doesn't matter.
You bought it. It was legal.
Yeah,
it is legal still,
it's
right?
still legal. They're having a shit fit about it, though. The issue is they're saying it's a machine gun. Now that's being fought in some weird court world and legal mumbo jumbo. And
I'm a machine gun.
Yeah, Chevron deference is the defense they're trying to put on. I don't know what that means. I'm just a simple.
Chevron deference?
Yeah, it's a legal definition to how to attack this case. I think I got some of the videos up.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah, I was gonna pull them up.
One of the videos is.
They don't have a name to either one.
All right. Well, so whatever was the smaller one.
The smaller one?
Yeah. That should be the right one. So many windows.
It's making me download it.
That's hot. Probably got a virus. Nope, not that one. So the other video is what they're saying is it's creating a machine gun, and it's not, because the definition.
This one?
Yep. Hold it.
Hold on.
So the definition of a machine gun, according to the ATF.
Hold on, it's not up on their screen.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'll still fill them in. So a definition of machine gun is when you pull the trigger, you get one round, and you have to release the trigger to a full reset, and you get another function of the trigger in another round. Other than that, if I held the trigger back and it kept firing repeatedly, that would constitute a machine gun and be against the law if I didn't have paperwork. What you'll see here is for every round fired, you'll see my trigger finger pull and push forward to the full reset and pull the trigger again. They're saying that's a machine gun. That is not. That is semi-automatic.
I'm trying to figure out
how to get it over there.
Yeah, I might have to pull up a different one.
That's all right. So that's the argument the ATF's making. They're saying it's a machine gun. They just got their balls in a wad because they don't want people to have any of the cool shit that makes weapons more effective for like base of fire, terrain denial, anything like that. They don't want people to have that because it puts them at a less defensive position if the people are armed like the military is, like it should be.
All right, I think.
Any luck?
I think this is it. Let's try
right.
it. What the?
Uh-oh.
Oh, why is it doing that?
Well, it's all weird.
All right. Maybe I have to. I know what to do. Why is it doing this?
I don't know. Because the show is going smoothly until the end.
Yeah. Well, why is it? It turns it sideways, which doesn't make sense.
If that's the way it is, I mean, it just demonstrates. You know why? Because I had the phone like that. I had it like this.
What is this? Amateur hour?
It's amateur hour.
Well, I guess you'll never know unless you go buy yourself an FRT
15. They're $355 at FRT.com. Not a sponsor.
No. This is not an ad. But they are nice, and you guys can't see it, unfortunately.
Will it play at all?
It'll play. It's really small. Hold on.
Whatever.
Let me see. So it plays right on here, but it doesn't play right over here.
As long as they can just see the trigger.
So it won't even let me see it until it plays. So let's try it.
Nope.
I see you pulling the trigger each time.
Okay, good.
I can see it.
Good, so they saw it, right?
I don't know if they saw it. I don't know if anybody saw it because it was, for whatever reason, it didn't.
Will the other video play at all?
Yeah, the other video. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll try now.
Let's see here. Pull that one down.
And you'll see that it simulates what would be an M16, but it's not. It's still an AR-15 style rifle. That is semi-automatic.
So I'm not getting any volume out of it, but in case anyone was
ATF.
watching,
We'll throw the video up on our webpage, up on Facebook and everything. So, so they're just saying that constitutes a machine gun when it doesn't. It doesn't have any machine gun parts in it, which would make it a machine gun. It literally is just a drop-in trigger that has a quicker reset than a standard trigger. It is not a fully automatic device at all.
No, you're a criminal.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it scares a lot of people. The $250,000 fine and 10 years in federal prison. That get dicked real hard.
So and so anyone who doesn't follow this, like maybe you don't follow it because you don't own a gun, or maybe
I think it's bigger than just gun ownership, of course.
Yeah. It's important that you understand that the ATF is not a legislative body. They don't have any right, any authority to make new laws.
No, they just change meetings.
But under their limited authority, the way that they play the game is they change the meaning of the word. Very much like woke culture in, changing the meaning of everything else. Changing the meaning of vaccine.
That was a good one.
In the last year. So ATF is just changing the meaning of words so that things that were not illegal now are defined as something else, and that something else is something that's already illegal. So people who are legal gun owners that are going about their business, not breaking any laws, wake up one morning and don't even know that they're a felon. So if you didn't think the government was dicking you before when we talked about all this, just factor in that law-abiding citizens all around the country that enjoy their firearms but aren't hurting anyone, some of them wake up almost daily to find out that they're a criminal and they haven't hurt anyone.
Yeah, and you better turn it in or else.
Yeah, or else.
But thankfully, the guys at Rare Breed Triggers, they're fighting this and they're taking it all the way to court. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty good case for the American gun owner.
Yeah. Well, there was a recent fight with was it a pistol brace manufacturer in New Hampshire? I feel like there was a brace manufacturer in New Hampshire, or maybe it was a compact. Was it called a Scorpion or something? What was it?
The CZ Scorpion?
Maybe no. It was made in New Hampshire. It was a local manufacturer, and they've been fighting the ATF because the ATF told them to cease all manufacturing. Until whatever process goes through, and they essentially said no.
Yeah, that's what ATF threw the guys at Rare Breed. Hey, you got to cease and desist right now. And he's like, fuck off, not happening.
Yeah.
He was still selling them that day. Still is today.
And that's how it should be, because if you lay down and take it, you're gonna get dicked extra hard.
Yeah, it's not fun.
So,
Especially when you're not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean?
yeah. And you know what? If you lay down and take it, then you're going to look at the TV in the morning one day, and Anthony Fauci is going to be the president, have never been accused of doing anything wrong in his life. You're going to be living off of the yuan or some new currency that never existed before.
After you've been hacked.
Yeah, and the head of the SEC will be Klaus Schwab or something, and President Zelensky will be the most famous actor in America, and none of us will have guns, and we'll all be living under the boot.
And we'll like it.
And we
We'll
will
be happy.
own nothing,
And we'll be happy.
and we'll be happy. Those are the words of Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum, talking about the what is it, despotic future.
Just terrible.
And so
Dystopian.
yeah. So good luck, everyone.
Hope you had some handlebars built in for this ride called life.
Yeah. This is not an ad or anything like that, but you might consider getting, if you don't already, have some livestock. You're going to need a supply of food, that like maybe some chickens so you can get eggs every day or something.
Rabbits.
Yeah, rabbits, like start growing potatoes.
Learn how to do that stuff.
Because this is about to become a very rocky ride, and we've been living in comfort and convenience for a very long time. Our grandparents did experience, great-grandparents for some of us, did experience these hard times. And, for the ones that still have the mental fortitude to tell you what it was really like, you should sit down and talk to them, because that's coming for us. So what you should do is buy up all the ammo you can.
Get some silver or gold.
Yeah, don't go. I wouldn't commit everything into crypto if you're thinking about crypto. I wouldn't commit everything into anything of a traditional currency value. I would start looking at either tools or
precious
gold
metals.
or precious metals. Start looking at things you can barter with, or things that you can make things with. Get them before you can't afford them, because you won't be able to afford a lot soon.
I think Alex Jones. I know we're gonna get a little grief from this, but that guy has been right on so many topics, and I used to give him so much shit. I was like, this guy's a little much, but
well, he's eccentric.
Yeah, but
he oversells it.
He seems like he's right. And again, where's Dr. Fauci? Where'd he go from A-list to D-list celebrity so quick? The economic failures that we're facing. Pay attention, folks. As Alex said, keep an eye on the dollar, where it's headed. It's gonna get real rocky real soon.
Yeah. So like we say every time, and like we hope you will, one, if anything that we said during this podcast either sparked your interest or you thought was dumb, tell us. Say it in the comments. Tell us we're dumb. Tell us
we're wrong.
Or tell us that you liked what we talked about, and you didn't know that. We put a poll on there just to see what you thought, to see if anyone really thinks the US dollar will collapse. My vote is yes, and I'm actually terrified for it. I don't want it to happen. So aside from commenting, like the video, subscribe,
spread the word,
and check us out on YouTube. We've got several other videos, and we try to post at least one video a week. Try to keep up with the ongoing chaos that is the world we live in.
We're on Twitter, Facebook. We monitor, we upload, we get our points across every day.
Yeah, Twitter is a big one. I'm always on there, so we're always playing around on Twitter and Facebook. The videos are on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, and now Facebook. We have an Instagram. We don't really play around on it, but pretty much if you can't find us by searching Semper Phallus, I don't know why you couldn't, because the only one that didn't let us actually just use the username is YouTube. Everywhere else on the internet, we are just at Semper Phallus. It's literally, whether you're on Getter, Gab, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, Odyssey. There's probably more.
There's a few you missed. I don't know what they are, though.
We have a Truth Social.
We're waiting.
But we're on the wait list like everybody else. And I've heard a lot of people complaining about it, but I mean, we'll expand onto every alternative media
they're
we
learning
can.
too. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, what I'd like to do is get us more focused on Rumble, but it seems like a lot of people are still attached to YouTube, so we keep playing with YouTube mostly.
Yeah, so like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell. We try to do this every week. Yeah, Semper Phallus. We're always dicked.
Always dicked.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. I love it.